I'm watching my great nephew, so kids be trying to always slide stuff on you. Okay. All right, family. Let's get this cracked. All right, peace and blessings, family. Welcome to Happy Friday, and welcome to another day of building on this African spirituality conversation. And as always, I am pleased to be joined by some queen mothers, some Ias, who gonna help us get some of this knowledge in. And I just want to say, I always get like comments and inboxes. A lot of folks is learning some stuff and being introduced to some other things as well. So during this time, people are definitely looking and listening for new information, if you will. So thank y'all for coming on and sharing with me. Today, let's just do a quick check-in. Just tell me how you feeling this morning before we get started.
Well, I'm fine. I'm okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm blessed.
I'm fine.
I have to say,
Mm.
Okay, wait a minute.
talking at the same time.
So hold on. So before we get started, do y'all see the mute buttons on your pages?
No, what? No, see, what I see is the picture of the um, Orisha.
Okay. I think it has something to do with you moving your buttons around, like your mouse around. Like Donna, I see where you mute yourself. Um, uh,
Oh, I can mute myself. Okay.
So when we do that, what it does, it keeps that staticky noise down when other people are talking, so we can hear people clearly. So when you want to talk, just unmute yourself, and then say I have something to say, whatever. And that way, I don't have to try to unmute you because I'll be like over here typing and inviting people and all that kind of stuff. Yes. Okay. No, don't play with those. Leave them alone. Okay. So, what I would like for us to do today is to kind of do a little refresher, if we could, of some of the Orishas. And so, if you see, I have this chart. And I love this. There's so many different charts like this, by the way. And a lot of these artists are from Brazil, of the Orishas. So these are their renditions of how they see the Orishas. But what I wanted to do was to do just some quick, if we could, just basic understanding of some of these Orishas before we get into the whole thing around devotees, um, and how devotees, like say if one time you were interested or maybe even involved in this tradition, how can you bring yourself back to it, or what things you can do to start yourself back on the journey to learning, to being connected to, and that's why I think for me, because people always ask me about different things, and I always send people to study. I don't even refer people to people. I don't do that because I want people to find their own teachers. But I always say before you find a teacher, you should at least be studying and at least know something. Like you have to take accountability for you. I'm a big accountability person. So that's like me going to church, but then I didn't study anything about the church. So I go in there and I don't really know anything. And then I'm going to be mad when something happens when I could have just studied some of this stuff myself. So anyway, like in school, you have to study. So I wanted to start off in the corner of this. They have Yemaya. What do we know about Yemaya? And anybody can go. Can you unmute yourself and just go for it?
Well, I'll speak first. But I was introduced to Yemaya through a story, right? So I had come across some books with the Patakis of the Orisha, and I read these stories about the Orisha. And in the beginning, um, and I was young, like 20, 21, young, and at that time, reading the stories about the Orisha, I likened it to reading about Greek mythology growing up. But once I was introduced to a priestess of Yemaja and sat down and got a cowrie divination, and she started to say those prayers in Yoruba, it came alive to me. Everything about the Orisha tradition that I had learned up to that point came all the way alive to me. I felt like I understood every word she was saying. I felt like It was something inside of me knew what was going on. And then I was introduced to songs for Yemaya. And when I heard the songs and I heard the drums, I immediately started crying. So when you ask what do we know about Yemaya, it's an indescribable feeling of being loved and nurtured and looked after and protected that comes over me, and it's not I'm doing all this hand motion and stalling and stuttering because it's not something that's easy to just describe. It's an indescribable feeling of being loved by your mom. That's what Yemaya is to me.
Okay. It's not so much that I want to talk about Yemaya or Yamoja because I think that you encompassed her, encapsulated her very well. But what I wanted to say, LaDonna, and I'm so glad to see you today, but what I wanted to say is that's what I mean when I say the Orisha choose us. That feeling that came over you, that was Yemaya choosing you. The Orisha come to us when it is time, when we are ready to receive them. They will ascend right into our very being. And you said it. You said it. Now I'm miking myself again.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all can see me, but I'm crying right now. Like that. That's what Yemaya does to me. Like it is. Yeah, we all have mothers. And if your mama loves you, you know what that is. It's something that you know. You wouldn't have to try to describe that to any of your friends. And if you tried, it would be hard to explain. You would just have to give a bunch of examples of something that was done for you and the way it made you feel on the inside. But Yemaya and Eshu are the two Orisha beyond a shadow of a doubt that let me know that this is real. In my experience with those two Orisha. Now, I don't have experience with every single Orisha. Like I'm looking at the chart. Um, I've done some work. I've done ritual and offerings with a lot of them, but not every one of them. And so I can't speak to every one of them. But who I will always gonna big up Eshu because that's just that Eshu is a friend to me. But Yemaya is that knowing that your mom loves you.
Oh Lord.
Okay. Yeah, you trying to say something? I don't mute myself so I can at least.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, she said it very well. I know a little about Yemaya, and I'm not a child of Yemaya, but I have the utmost respect. And for each Orisha or whatever Orisha that chooses you, make
Yeah,
one way or the other, whatever. It's like an energy that gets out of you that when you feel a certain Orisha's presence or when it's being crowned on your or those tears always, and I hear that from a lot of people, and I experience it myself. So those tears comes out, and them tears of joy. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
pick it up.
And yes, I don't know how. I don't have my phones on.
I know. I don't know what that is. It's like your
It's
internet.
fine. Can you hear me?
It could probably be your internet's just a little slower or something. It could be, who knows with that.
I don't know. Let me try my phone. I'll
Okay.
try my phone. I'll be back.
Okay. Okay. So while she's doing that, because I definitely want to hear what she has to say always, I wanted to now look at the next one is Obatala. So anyone wants to talk about Obatala and that whole relationship? Or that deity, like, information. And in the comments, I'm also sharing the meanings as well. I mean, like just a little write-up.
Yeah. Obatala is like Umoja was for my sister LaDonna. Obatala is that for me. He's my comforter. He's the king of the white cloth. I try to wear white as much as possible, even if it's not on the outer garments or my inner garments. I try to wear white or have something white on my body. He's patience. He's peace. He's pure. He's the father of the Orisha. He's kind. He's gentle. Of course, he does have his side when he is strict about certain things. Different from that female energy, though, of Oshun and Yemaya and so forth. Yeah, he's the king of the white cloth. He's patience and love, and I love him. I love him. I love him.
I don't know. Let's see what happens.
The other sister has joined us now as well, so we've got a
full house. I just want to say when people, because I know the other ear just joined us. When we're not talking, we are personally muting our own video, and then when you want to say something, you can unmute yourself and then join in. So, okay, and Ia is back, so you can go right ahead. I'll mute myself.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes, I hear you.
Yes, you sound better. You're moving better.
I had to go up.
Yeah, I can't hear you
my
guys.
phone because something is just not right, or maybe spirit don't want me talking. I don't know. But anywho, I was gonna say that what I was saying was that Orishas make you feel certain ways, especially when you're receiving them on your Ori. And the tears. And when I was saying tears, there's a lot of tears of joy. Is a happiness. Is
I can't hear you guys.
Yeah, it makes you feel so good about yourself, and you look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is where I'm about to begin. Let me take this and embrace it. But Yemaya does something for me. And at most, I heard you talking about Obatala. Obatala, when I received Obatala, it was such a calmness because I needed that in my life, because I look at it as me being all over the place. And now that we're talking about that, my eyes are running water. But anywho, Obatala gives me calmness, and sometimes I need that, especially when I'm a hard-headed person, or I'm always all over the place. And he brings me that calmness where I'm at peace with myself. The rest of the world can be going on or doing whatever they're doing. And for some reason, if I light that candle and I go on my knees or I hold on to Obatala, I know I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? So I can speak about experience when it comes to Obatala more than Yemaya. Yemaya, to me, I love her dearly. I respect her. But girl, I just can't. I can't do it with the Yemayas. I can't. I love them, but I got to stay away. I got to keep that distance.
Anybody else about to lie? Before we move on to, this is probably one of the more popular Orishas, is Oshun. She's next on the chart. Oshun.
Anybody? No? Yes? Can you hear me? Yes? Okay.
Are we talking about Oshun
Yes.
now?
Yeah, we're talking about Oshun now.
Okay.
Who's gonna go first?
I'll go first, and then you go behind me if you want to.
Okay. I want to make a joke up front.
I'm only kidding.
Oshun and Beyonce are different.
But you know what? Ochung is a blessing to me. You know, whenever you have that bottle of honey, you know, you need honey to sweeten your life all the time when it comes to Ochung. I always say everybody wants to be Ochun, but let me tell you, there's different demeanors about Ochun.
Okay, anybody else? Ia, you muted.
Are you speaking to me or Mambo Yansa? Which?
Mambo is muted. Something's going on. Like I see a mouth moving, but I can't hear her. But anybody want to jump in and speak on Oshun?
I'll speak about Oshun. Love her dearly. She what Yemaya is for LaDonna in the female energy, in the female pantheon, that's what Oshun is for me. I'm just sitting here looking at her sunflowers. I have I don't know how many of them there are, but her sunflowers there. And of course, today is special. Fridays are special for Oshun. Uh, um, she is, she is wealth. She's wealth. She likes her jewelry. She likes her honey. She, some people say that she is a coquette or you know, a loose woman, but that's not what it is for me. She is fertility. She is creation. She is the water that flows throughout our lives. We need the water. We're made up of more than 70, 80, 90. It depends on who you speak to, percent fluids and water. And that's Oshun. So, and there's so much more I could say about her, but I'm going to defer to my sisters here. The sister that's just below me. I will defer, or to LaDonna, to whoever wants to speak.
Good morning, sis. Yes, for Oshun, for me, she's a mother. She helps us to have that coolness when we're particularly dealing with our children. Children, not only in our homes and our families, but like in our workplace, because I work a lot with children. So to having that balance to be able to, when they acting all crazy and stuff, they say in this day and time, you can go and say, okay, let me come into them with a different kind of way so I can get to them. So Oshun helps me to do that, keep that sweetness, that honey definitely goes with her too, for that sweetness that she brings.
Right on. What
Killer
about,
Donnie.
the Ibejis? What about the Ibeji? Ibejis are next.
Ah,
Anybody want to speak on
myself.
Ibeji?
She got the flow on that.
Well, I'll speak on Ibeje because I am Ibeji. Beje La, Beje Wo, Beje Ray. Um, and Ibeje are fun. Ibeji are fun and mischievous, in my experience. I feel like, um, so I'll rewind it back. So there are patakis about the Ibeji working with Eshu and the Ibeji working with Shango. And and they're depicted a lot of times as, those little kids that are into everything and see what grown folks are doing and carrying the story from this person to that person for their own advantage, right? So I say the Ibejis are mischievous. Personally, I'm not. My sister and I we didn't even grow up as mischievous kids. We didn't play those twin tricks on people, but we are fun. And we're almost 50, but we still live very lighthearted. We love groups of people. We love parties. And personally, I love to dance with children. Like that's one of my things that will bring me joy, brings tears to my eyes. I could do it day in and day out. So I would say the Ibeji have a relationship with children. I know that I've been to Ibeji festivals that just felt like, just imagine a huge birthday party for a 7-year-old. You got jump houses, you got cookies, you got cakes. It's all type of toys and gifts and games, and everybody is excited and happy. And there's just this flowing energy of fun and goodness. That's how I see Ibeji. That's how I would describe Ibeji.
Shame.
Okay. Anybody else want to add on to that before I go to the next one? Because the next one is Oba. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the meaning that I found for her in the comments on Facebook, of course. But do any of you all know anything about her?
So yeah, is that what you said?
No, Oba. OBB.
Oba. Okay.
What I found is because I look up stuff, but it's different when people give you your definitions on the internet as opposed to someone who is a devotee or studying of these traditions. That's the one thing I did love about Brazil. They kind of have like 16 to 18 different. 16 to 18 different orishas, like their main orishas that they talk about all the time in Brazil. And she was one of them. Oba, known as Abba in Latin America, is an orisha of the river Oba, which sources lay near Agon, where she is worshipped, where her worship is originated. Oba was tricked by Oya Orishun into cutting off her ear and trying to feed it to Shango. She is synchronized with the Saint Catherine, and so her colors are purple, burgundy, and the rainbow. Her symbol is lightning, the sword of a machete, flying whisk, and a water buffalo. And it said that she was married to Shango. So that's what I was able to find on her. But do y'all know anything about her?
Some more to me like, oh yeah.
Oba was Shango's first wife.
There you go.
Oba was
Okay.
Shango's first wife.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and he was married to her, and she was tricked into cutting off her ear and putting it in his soup. And when he found out, he was, of course, not happy with that, and he kind of banished her. But with Oba, she's a mother. She's a nurturing mother. She's more. She's somewhat like Nana Baruku in that she likes the women. She likes the women more than the male energy. She's more with the female energy. It was terrible that she cut that ear off, but she did, trying to hold on to Shango. But of course, we'll get to the story of Shango. He's interesting. I'm muting myself.
Thank you, Ian. That's what I love. I mean, I know when I'm reading certain Orishas that I haven't heard from the 7 main basic ones. I was told there was 202 Orishas, I can't remember, a 402 or something like that.
401.
Oh, say it again.
401.
401. Yeah. Thank you. I can remember the number. That it could sound like somebody else, but they're all Orishas in their own right. So what I love is when I can expand with, learning more about all the Orishas and not just basically still on the same 7. You know what I'm saying? Or the 10 you may know. It's just really beautiful to be able to do that. The next one is, I don't want to mess this name up, is OXOSI.
Ochosi.
Ochosi. I always say it and I mess it up. What do y'all know about Ochosi?
So I know a little about Ochosi. Again, I'm going to preface everything else I say comes with this preface and this disclaimer. We develop relationships with Orisha based on really divination and work prescribed to us to do with a particular Orisha. So of course we can, there are books out there, we read books and we know the stories or the mythology, for lack of a better word. And once you get enough divination done, do enough ebos, or make enough offerings, you start to develop relationships with the Orisha that step in for you and say, hey, I'll help you in your life. And it becomes, for me, describing those Orisha is like thinking about people I know or my friends, right? The people I know closely, the Orishas I work with often, I'll have more stories. I'll be able to talk more about what I know about those Orishas. The other Orishas, I may have just read about them or knew somebody who was initiated to that Orisha, or knew somebody who had an affinity for that Orisha, so they talked about that Orisha all the time. And y'all know that's how it is, especially if you're in an Ile. Your god brothers and sisters will all have their own Orisha that they have an affinity for, or that they've done a lot of work with. As y'all sit and talk and get to know each other in the house, then you learn more about people's experiences with the Orisha. So I say all that to say, as far as Ochosi goes, when I was younger, my god brothers really equated Ochosi with the police. So the ones who were doing extra legal activities developed relationships with Ochosi. Here in Sacramento, we have 2 rivers. So there's a lot of that forest or brush in our city because of that. So I know, like I said, coming up, my god brothers were at the river in that forest area making offerings to Ochosi, praying to Ochosi, just to keep them covered for the work that they did. So when I hear Ochosi, I think about them and how they kind of likened it to the police. And also I think about a particular story I read about Ochosi where someone had stolen a chicken from him, or someone had taken something from him. I think it's a chicken. And so Ochosi, in his way, he sends up an arrow to kill the thief. And he later finds his mother with his arrow in her heart. The mother came to get the chicken to prepare a meal for him, and he just acted in haste, believing he had been stolen from, when actually it was a little different situation. And I always think of that as, when I think of that story, I think of it as a caution, because if we act without thought and without analytics, we may regret the end result. And so Ochosi teaches us to be precise in our movement. So that's how I would describe Ochosi in my feelings about it.
Right on. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pick a couple more from here, and then we're gonna go into the other part of the conversation. I gotta make sure I leave time for the other part of the conversation. Now, I want to look at See, this one is, see what I'm learning too as I'm reading a lot of these Orishas. Some of them are practiced more in certain Latin America, like Brazil is, or it tells you in here, it say, oh, really big in Brazil, like this one here, Oko, if I'm saying it correctly. They talk about this person being from in Nigeria or the Benin Republic is a strong hunter deity as well as a fighter against sorcery. He is in his association. It talks about basically what he's associated with: color black. He's really big in Nigeria, Benin, and it says Latin America. So, anybody know anything about Oku?
Oku. How are you spelling it?
OKO.
Orisha Oko.
Oko. So it says Oko.
Yeah, that's Oko.
You might know anything about Oko?
No, I'll find out.
Okay, no worries. Let's go to Olokun.
Ah,
Olokun.
Olokun. That's
Olokun.
the,
You're not talking. Please mute yourself. Go ahead.
I'm not muted, am I?
You good.
Olokun, that's the deep ocean. Olokun is connected with wealth as well. He allows us to go deep, and I'm saying he, but oh gosh, the word is going for me. But he's androgynous. He's a he and he's a she. He's both. He's both, and you find that with a lot of the Orisha, they have different caminos or different roads, and sometimes they're male and sometimes they're also female, depending on on the Orisha. Um, so and he's a powerful, or she is a powerful energy. The energy of the bottom of the ocean works in tandem with your Orisha Ladana. He works in tandem with your Moja. She's the top of the ocean. She's the waves. He's more the deep.
Right on. What about Oya?
I'm smiling. We lost Mambo Yansa.
Yeah. She rules my head. She is about change. She is that female warrior who's stronger than her husband, as they say for Shango. And that she will take that fight. The others will just talk about and move that forward. She's that piece of lightning where you see the lightning coming from Shango. She's that little spark you see just before that lightning. So she leads, and wherever that pass, that energy, that spirit that might be. When we see in the wind shifting, or like how the times are shifting. So yeah, is hoping to guide us with that.
What about Ogun? Ogun
clears the pathway. Ogun clears the spiritual pathway for us. Yes, he will fight. He'll make sure that we can see clear. That's from the perspective of Ayantar.
Right on. I'll take it.
Actually.
Yeah, the last one somebody else, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ladonna.
I just want to give praise and honor to Ogun, Iba Ogun, Amile, Iba Ogun, Amile. My godfather, Iba Ashe, Baba Ogun Tobi, was initiated to Ogun. And I feel like when I think about Ogun, my Baba Ogun Tobi was the epitome of one side of Ogun. He was a humble man. He was extremely dedicated to his family, extremely loyal and hardworking. He didn't complain about work. He didn't sidestep work. He worked hard. He worked hard his whole life. He was completely dedicated to his wife, completely dedicated to his family, completely dedicated to us as godchildren. He used to say, he like if we had problems, we'd go to him, Baba, and I just don't know, and I've been looking for a job, and I don't know if I should go back to school, whatever our issues was, and he would say, Ogun gonna tell you like a Ti is, do it if you can't do it no more. That was his advice, and he was he was just that consistent, just a forward moving, a very smooth, momentous type of man. So I can't think about Ogun without giving honor to my ancestors, to my Baba Ogun Tobi. Also, when I think of um, Ogun is force to me. Force, like they say Ogun is the god of war, the god of iron. So if you imagine a train, if you imagine an army tank, if you imagine a bullet, like that force that moves through the world, that's Ogun. That's Ogun. Ogun is strong. Ogun is fierce. Ogun is constant and dependable. Yeah. I got some Orishas that I am just in love with. I hear myself. There are some Orishas that I am in love with, and Ogun is one of them. Just a very constant, strong force.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
they my
now,
favorite type of dudes. I like the sons of Ogun.
right on. Now we're gonna move into the part of the conversation. If you were a devotee to some of the Orishas that we talked about, and say you kind of are trying to get yourself back on track to your practice, or trying to be more of a devotee, or how would you suggest people get themselves back on track? And that's why I love this picture of this sister in her white in the river or in the water. I don't know if that's exactly where she's at, a river or ocean, but I can tell that she's in the water. How would you suggest that someone to get themselves back on track?
Prayer. Prayer is the most powerful thing that we do with our Orisha, with Olodumare. We have to ask our Ori, the whole Ori, ask our Ori to guide us in the direction we need to go. We will guide us to help the Orisha that we need to connect with, for the Orisha that are looking over us where we ask them or not, because we don't know, without a divination necessarily, but we don't really know which ones we should always talk to for whatever. Sometimes there may be another one inside, hey, you know what? I'm going to help you out this time. Like when we do our Italo Boom, every 17 days we come together and, conference call or something in this day and time, but you have a divination that's done to say, hey, here's some guidance, kind of help us during this time. So we connect with our prayers. We look at what those things are being said. It's going to tell us from the inside where we need to go to reconnect. We know when we fall into a point where we need to go, all right, let me refocus here. Because you can tell because of how your life is going, and when you're doing your prayers and you whether you're in front of an altar or not, even if you're in the car or you're at the river or you're wherever you're at, you can sit down at any different time. So you know what? Take a deep breath, do my prayers, get myself on point. You may not even know all you need to do to get back on point, or all the point you have off. Your prayers for your read will set you on that course.
Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom before we realize that the one thing that kept us steady was our practice, and we have to get back to that. Usually, and I can speak from my own experience because there was a time when I went on my merry way, looking at other spiritual systems, and just exploring. But I wasn't practicing my own tradition the way I should have. And that was not a short period. I mean, that was how they say you were sowing your wild oats. Well, that was during the 70s, and I was doing other things. But then something always seems to happen in your life where you're hitting that rock bottom, and you say, "Oh boy, this is not good," and you remember, and you always have your ancestors. That's my connection. You always have your ancestors, and they can kick you in the butt, and that when they give you that kick, then they'll remind you, ah, you have the ability to sit down on the mat and get a reading. And once you do that, it steers you back into alignment, and you realize that this is why your life has been um, so chaotic, or whatever it is that has happened to you. Sometimes it's health issues, sometimes it's relationship issues, sometimes it's family issues, sometimes it's jail issues, sometimes it's drug issues or other things like that. Um, and ah, one thing that I can do, those ancestors are pushing you. Go get a divination. Go sit on that mat and get a reading. It's time. You played around too long. I think I always go back to my saying, the Orisha choose you. And I think the Orisha, if we forsake them, and they love us, they love us. They'll punish us to some degree if we do some stuff that we know we shouldn't. But they love us. They will punish us like a parent would punish a child, because basically they love us, and if they have chosen us, then that they will bring us home. They will bring us back home.
I want to speak to this because it's my experience, and I know when I kind of walked away from the tradition, it was the first time. It was because I was disillusioned. Um, I had I felt separated from the members of the house, and I felt like I had irreconcilable differences. So um, I went my own way, and I spent years having my own ancestor shrine and having Eshu with me, and tried to try to walk the walk on my own, and I felt lost, and I felt like I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know if it's working, because I even though I was trying to continue with what I had learned up to that point, it came to I reached a stage in my life where I felt like it wasn't serving me, and I was just like out there, and then I had a dream, and my god sister from the first Elay I was a member of, my god sister and my godmother from that Elay came to me in my dream. One of them is living. My god sister is living. My godmother was not in this dream, and they both came to me and told me to seek her out, to call my god sister. And I bring that part in because I believe with all of me that it is sisterhood that will pull us back. As women, I believe it's a sisterhood that pulls us back to center. If we deviate and we're misaligned, there is a woman in our lives, there is a sister that we have who will pull us back to help us get back to center. And that's what she did for me. And I was a part of, so we were in a new house and things were going well. And again, and I recognized that I have some rebelliousness in my spirit. And I would chalk that up to being an veggie. Like I have a hard time listening to authority. So again, I'm having some differences with the leadership in this house. and I kind of pull away from it. And then I experienced some real trauma in my life. And the kind of trauma, the kind of tragedy where people will say, there can't be a God if this happened, right? So I've experienced some disillusionment and issues with leadership in Elays twice. Now I'm dealing with the tragedy. And I'm like, what the hell is this stuff? What is going to help me? And I just kind of, I shut down everything. I didn't have any shrines. I wasn't saying any prayers. I wasn't doing any of that. And then, like you said, Ian, I had hit a rock bottom. And I just went, I got myself back on track with other women who were still in the tradition and who just checked on me. And they told me, just go outside. They reminded me that God is everywhere, that I don't have to follow the dogma of a religion. I don't have to worry about what I'm supposed to do and not supposed to do, that I can realign myself with the Creator by standing in creation. And having the love and support of those sisters helped me get to the place where I can reorient myself. And then I put my ancestor altar back up, and I began to do what I knew to do all these years. And it's bringing me back. It's bringing me back. It's bringing me back. And the more I do this work, the more I speak about this tradition, the more I give myself over to a life of spirituality, the stronger I'm becoming. So I said all of that to say, if there is a devotee who feel like they've strayed from the path, who feel like they're a little bit disillusioned with the tradition or the religion, you can get yourself back with at least one trusted sister and just standing in creation. Just stand in creation, literally stand in the park and contemplate the grass and the earth underneath and the whole universe of bugs and creepy crawly things, and then look up in the sky and contemplate the depth and the vastness of it. Go to the river. Just watch the movement that we don't even know what keeps it all going. Just stand in creation, and that will help you realign yourself with the Creator and your destiny.
Wow.
In my opinion.
Wow. Yeah.
But Donna, I'm gonna say wow, because it's really interesting. Like, I throw the topics out there, but I just feel like sometimes if you hadn't gone through anything for real, it's kind of hard to tell people what they should do, like out of a book. It's like somebody telling you a remedy out of a book and you learning about it through actually going through it yourself. It's just a different place to come from. And I think that's called authenticity. Like, it's not like what you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, yeah, that's nice. But when you're going through it, it don't feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's not how the steps come. You know what I mean? When you have to realign yourself to what you know to be true for you without a so-called middle person. Because sometimes in this culture, everybody's looking for a savior outside of themselves to fix what's inside of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you just spoke to that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
You spoke to that so beautifully.
Yeah.
Because I when I was putting that question out there, I think I really was thinking, like, how do you communicate with that part of yourself when you fall out? The only time I've heard someone speak to that is when I'm not confront people who are Christians when they talk about how they found their way back to God after a tragedy, but it wasn't necessarily they want to administer and that person ministered to them and then they came back in. It was always some work that they had to do themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That no one else could do for them.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes it's hard for some of us to understand that, because we're used to coming from a place of you need to do this, this, and this. Some of us are by the book people because that's religion. That's how I look at religion. Spirituality means you have to do all the work yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And some of the stuff is like you only you gonna know when you have to erect that altar. Only you gonna know when you gonna have to break down and cry and pray like you never prayed before. Only you gonna know that. I
Mhm.
can't do that for you. I can't tell you when to do it. I can just share with you my experience on what happened to me. And that's usually how people gain inspiration or at least have a reference point to what it is like, I remember seeing so and so do X, Y, and Z. And the next thing you know, you're at that place. So I just thought you summed that up so beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
because that's what I think a lot of people are looking for. That's why I feel uncomfortable referring people to people sometimes. Or like, it's just like, ooh, some of this you're gonna have to be yourself. Did you study anything? Did you read? Like, what have you been doing so far?
Yeah, and like that's why I mentioned sisterhood, and I will always mention sisterhood because sometimes the work is just being able to sit with somebody who's not judging you. Sometimes, like that might be the first step because, like the reality, I'm an American. I was born here. I was raised with this westernized thinking, and there's a lot of guilt and punishment. And like I always said, I have a hard time with religion because I have a hard time with the concept of God gonna get you, right? And sometimes getting back to God is just getting over that, not being getting over the feeling like you're going to be in trouble or something bad going to happen to you. And I think it manifests itself through other people. I'm always going to big up sisterhood. I'm always going to big up what I believe is the secret to women, and that is that we save each other, we heal each other. Just being in each other's presence and letting each other be okay with where we are. You know how people say you accept someone at face value and you meet them where they are. That that that's a gift. And when another woman gives that to you in any spiritual tradition, just sis, I'm gonna be here with you. I'm gonna walk along with you until you got your feet under you, until you feel like you know your way again. That's it's monumental. It changes
Sure.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So many things have popped into my head, but getting back to the creator by standing in creation, I'm going to put some quotes around that because I'm going to use that. That's a wonderful, wonderful, uh, just an epitaph to uh, how you get back to the creator by standing in creation. Um, the other thing,
Sure.
yes, you said it's that sisterhood. It's that sisterhood. It always goes back to the sisterhood. And one of the sayings that I have is a man will look at your behind, but a sister will save it. So, uh, hey, so yeah, you can talk with one of your sisters. Um, just thank you, LaDonna. Thank you for that. It moved me.
And I look at too, the Orisha are with us all the time in any which form, that we need. So when we're sitting with our sisters too, and we're doing that prayer for what we need to come to us at that time, our sisters, when we talk about Oshun and Yemaya or Ya uh, and any other ones that we have named, that it was the rivers and the cleansings that we need to be able to have, that the sisters, I agree with you. They don't come to a rescue, and the Risha are always there, because when Oshun came and the male Orisha decided he's going to do it on their own, and they decided, oh, we don't need her, he shut down until they were told, hey, you can't leave her out. So the sisters are always going to be there, because it can't be done without sisters. It can't be done without that feminine energy, that balance. So yeah. Thank you for that.
I just often wonder, what do you do when you are steeped in that feminine energy and then you've been hurt by it? Or you're hurting, hold on, baby, and you're hurting. How do you get yourself back to some healing from that, because it just feels some kind of way when it is something that you're dealing with and it's from the same energy that is you. How do you fix that? How do you begin to?
Not not all sisters are sisters. You have to know. Yeah, you have to build
Yes.
and know and have that relationship with your sisters, and not all ilays are meant for all people.
To that.
Sometimes you have to distance yourself from an ila and stand in the power of knowing that the Orisha will guide you to a new ila, and the Orisha will guide you to that sister or that even group of sisters
Yes.
who
Yes.
are authentic, who have your best interest at heart, who work from a place of from a heart space of Ochun and Yemaya. You have those sisters who are going to allow you to be you, but when you're acting the fool, they'll tell you you're acting the fool, but
Mm-hmm.
in a way that doesn't hurt, but
Shit.
that wakes you up, you
Shit.
know. Yeah. They're there. They're there. They're always there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say, if I understood your question correctly, Ro, you asked if you've been hurt by women, how do you heal that to where you can trust women again? And I would say that's where our new internet trends. God bless the internet trends. That's where the self care comes in, and you go back to self. You, you work on what you can in yourself, and as you heal you, then you open yourself back up to letting the spirit help you again, because the spirit's always helping. Like there's always information and nudges out there, but depending on our states of mind and hearts, we won't always see it. So once we do our self care, we start to feel stronger in ourselves. We start to trust ourselves. Now I'm actually looking. I'm actually my head is up, and now I'm looking around, and now I notice hummingbirds, and now I notice this little blue jay that must live somewhere near me, because every morning when I come outside and drink my coffee, I see this bird. And now I'm noticing almost every time I get in the car, I hear this song by Whitney Houston. And now I'm noticing those nudges from the spirit that I wasn't even paying attention to before because my heart was broke. But as I start to heal my heart and I start to hold my head up, now I can see the messages and now I can start putting them together. And then I start following them. And then as I follow what the spirit is showing me, the spirit, like you said, they'll lead you. Orisha will lead you. Our ancestors will lead us to the people we need to be with. But when you're heartbroken, really all you can do is just sit with yourself, give yourself time, begin to heal self, and then everything starts to open back up. From my experience, I can't speak for every woman in the world, but I can speak for myself and the women who shared some stories with me.
Mhm, mhm.
Right on, right on. Actually, that made a lot of sense, because sometimes what I find is when people have been hurt inside of religious or spiritual traditions and say it was by a man, but women is sometimes always in the midst of that. That's always been the experience that I've been able to see. So say if like, because man can't do nothing without woman, not one thing. So even if he's doing
Thing.
something wrong, you know, do you have the courage enough to stand up and be like, bro, you know that was wrong, or help him understand reason if that's your position? But sometimes when I would hear stories from women who were hurt by a man, it was always some woman kind of condoning that, which also makes us feel like we're at odds with each other. And then it affects the way you are able to connect with other women. Does that make sense? I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm hurt by women, but something in me is like, I'm still rolling with women. Like, I'm sorry, I ain't that deep. Like I may be upset for a minute, I ain't speaking to you for a couple of weeks, then after that, it's like I'm done. So for me, I just kind of always roll with women because that's always been like my lineage. Like that's who I am. But I know people who be really mad. They even forgive the man quicker than they would the woman. And I would be like, what? But that just would be me. I just would be like, oh, how does that work? You know, but it's just, I come to realize that it's like when a woman hurts you, it's almost like a reflection of yourself. Like I can't explain it, but it just hurts different.
Yes.
It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just be like, but that's just, you know.
When we talk about the power of prayer, when we're asking to come back to our strength, we also have to pray for those who've hurt us, because a lot of times when people are hurting others because they've also been hurt, they don't really know how to function, you know, in a way that is helpful to other people. So they just continue to, you know, go through that. Well, let me just inflict on you because I just need to get that out. And praying for them. As we are praying for ourselves, we have to pray for those around us to be uplifted also, because then it helps our whole psyche around us, our environment stuff, because we're trying, we are asking Orisha to come help us to stabilize this environment. That means everybody who's around us who's been hurting us, so we're going to pray for you too, because we want all the good stuff that's coming to us not to go away. We have to somehow be able to balance that part out, you know, so that, you know, we have to pray for those who are, they might consider them our enemies. They say water has no enemies, you know, so, you know, if we are flowing, you know, if we utilize the positive energy of our sisters who are about the water, you know, and we're flowing, that it'll dissipate. Eventually it dissipates. Eventually we'll see the change, and those around us who've been hurting us, and we can pray for ourselves, because we got to be able to say, okay, and then and pray for them also. That helps us to make that balance with every share, helping us.
I agree.
We have to ask for help.
Yeah.
You know?
I still believe in self-help. I'm just, one of the things
Yes.
I'm mindful of in my own journey
Yeah.
is not to use things to make the victim feel more responsible for the victimizer than themselves. Because
Yeah.
as women, that's a part of the program that's got us all messed up.
Yes.
So if I'm talking to somebody that's been hurt, I don't care nothing about the victimizer. I just feel like that's a part of the program that women get when people tell us to take the high road, when people tell us to, how does he went through some things too. That is not going to help you in that moment, honestly, because you still feel like you don't get your needs met because you're always being forced to carry the brunt of everything, including what's happened to you and what that person's done. And now their stuff, like, you may be in the generic category where it's like, I'm praying for everybody, but I'm not going to call you out by names. I think that's overdoing. I think that's why some of us are so sick. And when I look in this society over the years, and when I meet young men who have done some sick stuff, there's usually a woman right behind them who condone all the sick stuff that he did. I do a lot of visits, and I'd be like, man, some of our kids are in trouble because their parents are in trouble. But I grew up in a time where if you did something, the women would make you be responsible. See, I don't remember them being like, well, my boy been through. They don't start saying, they be like, he know better. Like immediately they go to, no, I won't allow him to act like it's okay for him to do what he's done because somehow he's a victim. It's like, no, I don't produce victimizers. That's all I'm saying. So I do think it's okay to pray for everybody, but I think we have to be very careful not to make the person who's been victimized be more accountable for the victimizer than themselves. Because that's the thing with Black people and Black women in particular, which is why we're so sick, which is why we have more health ailments than other groups of women, which is why it's hard for some people to love on us because we keep trying to be a superhero when really we need a goddamn superhero. Like put the mask on yourself. Quit trying to save everybody and you drowning.
So I want to jump in here, especially because you just said we need a superhero, and I want to, because as I've been listening in the last couple of minutes, Oba came back to my mind. So I want to loop it. I want to loop it into the African spirituality, and the Pataki goes that Oba and Oshun and maybe Oya were all wives to Shango.
Mhm.
And Oba cuts off her ear, puts it in Shango's soup at the suggestion of one of her sisters, right? So she was betrayed by a sister. She was hurt by a sister. We don't know a lot about Oba. She's not one of the seven African powers. So in the diaspora, at least in Northern America, we don't know a whole lot about Oba. But I remember reading that that Oba stays to herself. She always keeps her head covered. So I'm losing it a little bit because I saw this very perfect picture. I'm gonna work through this explanation. But where I'm going with this is for women who have experienced a betrayal at the hand of another woman, or who have been hurt or feel like they were turned on by their sisters, we can turn to an Orisha to gain that supernatural healing and advice and guidance on how to heal self and to still continue to move forward in our power and on our path and in our destiny. Even inside of this tradition, there is guidance. There is an answer.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Right on.
And I hear what you're saying, Sister Ro, in regards to that we're always praying for those who are victimizing us, as one who has been through that same thing we're talking about. So the prayers that I'm saying with that, it's not for us to pray for them because we know they've done all the stuff that they've been through and stuff, but it has to change. Somehow, the practice that we are doing has to people to heal so that it doesn't continue the way in which it's done. So when I say prayer, it's not so like, well, let me just pray for him just because he's had a bad time in his life. How can we make that change so that something happens? We want to heal ourselves, but we also have to make sure that's not something that's continuing. Because a lot of women, when we are healing ourselves, that person's still around doing the negative stuff that they've done to us. Stuff, so that stuff is still bringing them. You want to make sure that it's also not going to continue to come back at some other time. So we have to pray for that healing all the way around us. When we're in our Orisha, and if we just pray for our Orisha too, to ask, you just help us, because we can't do it by ourselves. We do need help. We are helping each other. When we're saying the sisterhood, or we're praying, we're getting up everyone, because we're also asking for help as we're giving that praise. So we have to balance, how are we going to do that? What does it need? And we don't always know what we need to do. If we just put it out there, the reach will help us to figure out where we're going with it.
I hear what you're saying. I just say, like, when you said that, you know what I thought of when you just jumped in and said that? I thought about Christianity when we say, pray for my enemies. Not like, I don't come from that. So that's
right. Yeah.
For me when you say that.
Job
to pray for the victimizer. I think
right.
Trying to, and women, that's what women do. We are always forced to take on other people's stuff, and that's why we're unhealthy. That's why we can't really. When I look at women who are light, when I say light, I mean light as a feather and not heavily weighed down, because I've been around both groups a lot. The woman who is really light, she ain't taking on other people's stuff. She is not putting on that cape. You won't make her put that cape on. And I be sitting there like, damn, I want to feel like that. But because I come from the women who bear the brunt of everybody's stuff, then it feels heavy on me. So here I am in the middle, understanding that the person that bears all the brunt got diabetes, got hypertension, just got a whole bunch of stuff going on with her. And then my girl over here, who's sitting over here in the light component, it's because she like, no, I ain't carrying that. And don't ask me. And I'm not being mean, but I'm trying to care for myself. It is not my job to carry the whole world on my back, piggyback style. I'm not going to do that. And you're not going to make me. I had that experience in Honduras. When I was in Honduras, they were fishing. The men will go fishing. The women will go into the jungle with their machetes and cut down wood that heated the house, and they carry the wood on their head and some on their back to bring it back in. And I thought to myself, why can't the woman go fishing? Because in the these were black people I was with, but with the people who were Native American, so to speak, or the Indian people, their women did the opposite. And they looked much healthier, much happier. Black women's backs was broke down. And then they had to help them pull the boat in. And I thought to myself, something's wrong with this. Something's wrong that we're always carrying the heavy load. And men don't carry heavy loads if they don't want to. They can just go on about their damn business and get some rest and get a drink and then come back the next day and be like, now where was we? Well, we've been there the whole night moving shit. Like that, that's got to stop because that's killing us. Because I watch it, I see it, I witnessed it. So that's all I'm saying. But I get what you're saying, but I'm not taking that responsibility. Take care of yourself. And hopefully he'll, or whoever the perpetrator is, they'll find something within themselves and then they'll get themselves together. Because this is all a journey to yourself.
Yeah.
It's all your own journey. I can't save my oppressor. I really feel like that's a part of the program that was left over from slavery. I believe that.
Yes.
That's what it hears to me. I hear that so well. I'll be like, pray for my enemies. I'm not doing that. I'm not, and I don't know if white people don't even say that when they do their prayers. I don't mean to make it black and white, but they'll be like, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. They don't be like, we gonna pray our enemies down. They're like, we about to kill all these fools in the name of Jesus. Amen. Let's go on out there and get it in. And you be like, huh? Like, the energy is just totally different. So that's all I'm saying. But y'all, we gonna wrap this up. Give me your final thoughts. That was very good. Your final thoughts.
We gotta keep this one going. We gotta keep this one going. This is interesting, yes.
My final thought is get back to the Creator by standing in your power in creation. That's my thing. That's what I leave you with today. Stand in your power in creation. That's how you get to the Creator. Thank you.
Ashe.
My final thoughts for today is first, I'm grateful to finally be back with y'all. This is this feels so good, and this is what I encourage. I encourage women to gather with other women because the offline conversations we gonna have, and especially when we have time. When we don't have a time limit and we are together in that sacred space, in that sacred grove, baby. I had a dream probably about 20 years ago that I was standing in a circle of African women in an apartment complex, and they were jumping up and down, and they invited me over, so I get in the mix and I'm jumping with them. And the lesson was they were teaching us to fly, and I didn't know it until I was looking at the stars. And that's a magic that we have that we need to bring back by coming together, gathering, sacred circles. That's my word.
Ashe. I'm just loving this energy that we have with each other and learning because, we all come from different spiritual pathways and stuff, and coming together, it's not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. So I'm loving this ability to be able to do this. COVID-19 is making it so we can all have that time, because normally I would be at work in a space where I can't do this. So this is really good. Thank you, sisters.
All right, y'all. We just completed another episode. Another conversation around African spirituality conversations, and I look forward to seeing y'all on Monday. And have a great weekend. So, ladies, hold on, don't hang up.
I'm gonna miss y'all over the weekend.